The Dr. Ray Podcast is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio. Here's today's monologue with Dr. Ray Guarendi.
I've become more and more convinced this is the number one adjective leveled at children. Strong-willed. It had its genesis way back with focus on the family's James Dobson, who wrote The Strong-Willed Child. Now, I'm kind of surprised at Dr. Dobson. He's a Christian man, and he would know that strong-willed is basically human nature-willed. It's what we are. Bent, concupiscence, bent toward the self, stiff neck. We want to do what we want to do. So, strong-willed would seem to be normal-willed, but as an aside, there are multiple variants of strong-willed, and you hear those. Oh, she's so determined. Oh, this child, black is white, white is black, going to do what she wants, just so independent. Mind of her own. Very high maintenance youngster, challenging child, very challenging child, very active child. We talked to the pediatrician. The pediatrician told us the problem. We have a difficult child. Difficult child is redundant. Why is this? Why all of a sudden are so many kids just so naturally pushed back? I think a big explanation is that the parents don't have the authority they used to have. I'm not talking about a jackbooted kick the door down, I'm back and I'm ticked, punk. No, I'm talking about a quiet, calm, strong, clear, loving authority. You mean what you say and you follow through and you support the values you're trying to teach, and you have to hold the kids accountable so you can do it and the world won't later. All of a sudden, that's just kind of become let's all get along. Gentle parenting is the latest iteration of that. I hope it dies out because it's ruining a lot of parents. It's also ruining a lot of grandparents' time around their kids who are being raised this way, their grandkids being raised this way. Are some kids more strong-willed than others? Of course they are. And that can make a child seem strong-willed when compared to a softer-willed child. I get this in my office all the time. The first kid comes in to the parents' lives, and it's a kind of relatively smooth child-rearing experience. And they think that's what parenting is. You know, we just put her to bed, we kissed her, we sang a song, and we told her a story, and we never had a bad time. And now this one comes along, and he fights bed every step of the way. What's wrong with him? Nothing. Your first one was a practice round, a mulligan. God said, here, play with this. I'll save the real kid till later. I'd say at least half the time when a parent comes into my office talking about how tough one of their kids is, I'll ask, is there an older brother or sister? Yes, nothing at all like this. Yeah, well, what makes you think the first one was normal? I think the first one was a freebie. And so, as a consequence, we think certain kids are strong-willed when it's only by comparison. They aren't necessarily that strong-willed. And interestingly enough, now I wrote a book called Taught by 10 and talked about some of the things I learned as a father. Just experiences. I knew these things from having worked with folks, but they were confirmed in my own home. And one of these was, defiance is very much dependent upon, believe it or not, I know some of you are not going to like to hear this, but it's true, the parent's discipline style. Somebody asked my wife, a woman from church, we had 10 kids under 12 at one point, what would you do if one of your kids just defied your discipline? They wouldn't accept it. And my wife said, I don't know. And the woman was shocked. What do you mean you don't know? Could you not know? Are you telling me your kids never defy your discipline? She goes, well, they used to back when they were little, but they don't anymore. The woman continued, how could that be? And my wife said, well, I guess they know what's going to happen if they do. And so they're not going to. Oh, they may be sneaky. Okay, or they may try to weasel their way around something. Oh, yeah, come on, they're kids. They're going to do that kind of scrap. But in terms of in your face, I'm not doing it. Don't try to make me go to the corner. What are you doing? That's crazy. That doesn't happen. We never had anybody refuse to write an essay for their snotty mouth. They didn't like it, and they may have stared at the paper for half an hour, but they didn't refuse. They didn't look at us like, make me. Because that wasn't going to happen, because we were going to shut down every privilege they had if they did that. But we never had to do that, interestingly enough, because they had found out younger what would happen if you defy. So I guess what I'm saying is, I didn't consider any of my kids particularly strong-willed. I had some that were stronger-willed than others. My one son, my oldest son, Andrew, I don't think I ever remember him at all. And my wife confirmed this because she raised them as a single parent. And that what was amazing is I was there the whole time. She confirmed this. She said, yeah, Andrew, I don't ever recall Andrew ever in any way being disrespectful as a teenager. No dirty looks. No snotty remark, no nasty argument. That was Andrew. All right. Now we had some others that definitely pushed the system, but Andrew didn't. So were they stronger-willed than Andrew? Yeah. But Andrew just wasn't a pushy kid. He just didn't do that stuff. So all that said, I cringe when I hear everybody talking about how strong-willed their kids. And if I asked them, I know what I'm going to hear. If I ask, do you think he's strong-willed? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Very strong-willed. And interestingly enough, and I've talked about this before on this program, what's the school see? Half the time, at least half the time, maybe more when they're below 4th or 5th grade. The school doesn't see any of that. Teacher says he's a delight. No problems whatsoever. She wishes she had a whole classroom full of him. Where'd all that strong will go? That teacher doesn't have a fraction of a parent's authority. How come that teacher's getting cooperation? Because the kid perceives that the teacher has some kind of authority, even though it's not anywhere near what a parent has. It's the perception that the teacher has that authority, and so that quote-unquote strength of will. But here's the other thing about strength of will. Christians of all people should recognize, confirmed by G.K. Chesterton, who said, the one doctrine of Christianity that has abundant empirical proof is fallen human nature. Just pick up any newspaper. Yeah, we are bent towards self-interest. We are. We spend our whole life trying to get past self-interest with God's grace, but that's the natural state of us. But yet, the shrinks have somehow turned that on its head. That's the only way I can explain this. The shrinks have decided, no, the natural state of a child is cooperation. They want to cooperate. No, they might want confirmation about their behavior. They might want compliments, but cooperate? Not if it goes against what they want to do. Come on, he's 5. What do you expect? He doesn't listen. He just doesn't listen. Of course not. When you say he doesn't listen, what you're really saying is he's a rational creature. If you find the right way to reason with him and explain yourself, then he will listen. Well, yeah, if we all lived by reason and rationale, yes. But we don't. We live by self-interest and emotion much of the time, especially kids.
More of Dr. Ray's monologues can be found on his website, drray.com. Monologues as well as full-length programs of The Doctor Is In can be heard at AveMariaRadio.net and EWTN.com/radio.